Wow, that was like, listen, first of all, let me shout out my guy Nick, the producer, one more time, just with these amazing like transitions and videos. It's so much fun. We are joined now by Stingray, Stephen Ray, and Heath Hopkins. They both cover the SEC for so Stingray. Why don't you tell us where we can find you, where we can listen to you guys, and what you guys are doing, and basically what you're into these days.
Well, right back behind me there, you can see the Stingray Show. We are actually on Tide 100.9, a local radio station down here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We are on Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and of course Saturday nights as well, covering college football, but not only college football, we also cover the SEC as well. And we love college football. We love college baseball. We just love it all, don't we, Heath?
Stephen pays me to say things, so, you know, I don't know where to go with that. No, I'm the big baseball nerd. I absolutely love baseball, all phases of it. Matter of fact, I just came from baseball practice, coaching my team. I'm coaching 3 teams this fall, and that doesn't account the other teams. My kids are on playing football and cheer and the other stuff they do. But no, Stephen and I do an SEC show, and we're a fun show. We're not an insider show. We're an outsider show, and our show is more about telling stories. And we've had some legendary interviews, some big names, some legendary interviews, and some really great guys that have come on the show, and very grateful and thankful for that. A lot of guys that I used to read growing up or watch on TV or see or even coach on the sidelines. And we've had a plethora of blockbuster guests. And that's what our show's about, is telling of days gone by and getting their insight of what's going on in the world today. And it's been absolutely fascinating this summer to hear all those voices talk about NIL and transfer portal and conference realignment and where we're heading and how it used to be and all that fun stuff.
And awesome. Chad, we've actually had you on before talking about the coaching search. Now, of course, that was when we were an internet show, and we've had Coach Freeze on a number of times. So obviously we do cover the Liberty Flames whenever Liberty has a huge game, and especially when they come down south.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that first. Before we get into the Southern Miss game, Stingray, tell me a little bit about your relationship with Hugh Freeze, how it developed. I know he sent you some stuff here over the last couple of last year or so. What is it about Hugh Freeze? How did you guys connect, and why does he come on your show? I mean, in terms of you guys cover the SEC, we're Liberty Flames, we're independent football. What is it that you and Hugh Freeze have going on, and how did you guys connect?
I want to interrupt real quick. They're third cousins. No, I made that up. I made that up.
In Mississippi, it's all relative, right?
Hey, back when I was doing the cowbell clanging Mississippi State rants back in 2014, 15, 16, and 17, early on when I started, Coach Freeze was actually the head coach at Ole Miss, and he would always, I heard this last year at when he went back to Ole Miss, a guy on the current Liberty staff told me that Coach Freeze used to play my rants for the team every single Egg Bowl week. And to get them fired up and to get them excited for the game upcoming that week. And so I'm going to have to ask Coach Freeze if that's actually true or not, but I do believe that it is. And when, you know, there is a bad side to social media. Obviously, you have a lot of haters out there, and, people can be real mean. And so I called a lot of flack from a lot of people out there, and Coach Freeze was nice enough to send me a personal message telling me don't let the negative haters deter me from reaching my passion and my goals, and that he really, really loved my passion. Even though I was a Mississippi State fan, he loved what I did for the game of college football and for the SEC. And so we started talking back and forth on Twitter from that. And then when I got the show, Coach Freeze was actually our second guest on the show.
Amazing. So that is incredible. I love that story. And he sent you a hat and some shirts last year. Yeah. Pretty cool. Heath, now tell me a little bit about your connection with Southern Miss. I know you cover the SEC, but back when they were going through their coaching search, I watched your guys' show pretty regular. And one of the things you were saying was that Hugh Freeze could possibly take that Southern Miss job because of that's his alma mater. It sounded like I'm not sure. Tell us about your connection to Southern Miss and how that's relevant to our game week this week.
Well, I'm sure everyone there at Liberty knows Coach Freeze, played baseball at Southern Miss. He graduated from Southern Miss. He's a Golden Eagle. And, you always have that, yearning to go home. Do you want to take the pay cut, though? Do you want to, and sometimes it's not always coach's decision. Sometimes it's Mrs. Coach's decision, So with that, Liberty's a much better job than Southern Miss. It is. Southern Miss used to be a premier program back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. It was a premier program. It was the team you did not want to play. You did not want to schedule. I mean, that's Florida State. I mean, Bobby Bowden got whipped several times by Southern Miss. So it was a situation where Southern Miss was a phenomenal team. But over the years, it kind of went. And let's talk about Mississippi politics very quickly. Ole Miss and Mississippi State got together because they were getting whipped by Southern Miss every year. They was like, look, we don't have to play these guys. And said it would kill their program if we stopped playing them. So we have to play each other because we're in the SEC, but we don't have to play them. And so that's what happened. And that was the slow decline for Southern Miss. And it just kind of went downhill from there. But, I'm here in Northwest Mississippi. Hugh Freeze's parents had the same boss as my parents or my mom. They were in the DeSoto County school system. I'm in DeSoto County right now. I'm in Hernando, Mississippi. And just about 10 minutes south of me is Independence and Senatobia, where Hugh Freeze, his stomping grounds were growing up as a kid and where family still is. There's a lot of Freezes still in this area, all over this area. And they all look alike, so you know it when you see them. But, this is kind of home here. So, did I ever really think he was going to leave Liberty? No, Liberty's a much better job. It is. And I know there's a lot of Southern Miss people that I know that pains them to still hear that, but that's a factual statement. Right. And that's not an opinion or anything like that. Liberty is a phenomenal situation. It's a program on the rise, and Liberty can kind of pick and choose, and they enjoy being an independent. Coach Freeze talked about that multiple times on our show. I did tease Coach Freeze when he came on the show. I said, Coach, I wouldn't dare ask you about the opening at Southern Miss. That would be improper and unprofessional of me. But is your wife happy or shocked about real estate prices in Hattiesburg, Mississippi? And, of course, he got a big laugh out of that. But, have you ever been to Hattiesburg? Have you ever been to the hub city?
I have been one time on my way to Mobile.
Yeah, there's not much there. It's a wonderful place with wonderful people. The greatest thing about Mississippi, it doesn't matter what town you're in, it's the people of Mississippi that make the state so phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's the hospitality state for a reason. But if you're going to raise your kids, if you're going to have a situation, you don't want to be in Hattiesburg. If your two coaching destinations are Liberty and Hattiesburg and Southern Miss, you're going to choose Liberty.
Yeah.
999 times out of 1,000.
Awesome. Well, Stingray, let's talk about the game this weekend. I know that you have gotten media credentials. You'll be there covering the game, which is going to be awesome. And talk to me about, so I was reading today that I think it was 9 or 10 SEC transfers to Southern Miss this year. 8 of them are on defense. You guys keep your nose to the grind. Is that even the right expression? You guys know what's going on in the SEC. What is it about SEC transfers that gets everybody so excited? We have a couple at Liberty ourselves, but it's like, okay, they were good enough talent to go to the SEC, and now they're here. What do you guys see, Stingray? Is it mostly academic? Is it playing time? Is it just they were overrated in terms of their – tell me about what you think of these 8 transfers on the defense from SEC. What are the majority of those kids going to be like, and can they contribute year one at Southern Miss?
Absolutely, because with the college football down here in the South, it's just a different animal. And these players know how to play ball. They play with aggression and they play with a chip on their shoulders. Now, a lot of these guys probably were not able to play because there were other good talent ahead of them, kind of like at Alabama, kind of like at LSU, other places like that. Yes, at places like that, you are just a number on the roster until you get to your later years there in college. And so I think that that's what they ultimately went to Southern Miss for, was that a place like Southern Miss, if you are an SEC type talent, you do stand a much better chance to play week in and week out because there's not anybody else breathing down your neck ahead of you or behind you with that kind of talent level.
And I'd like to add on to a little bit to that. Some guys just want a fresh start.
Yeah.
Sometimes transferring back to Hattiesburg is a little bit closer to home if you're from South Mississippi. Some guys, hardly ever it's grades. Sometimes it is, but hardly ever it is. But, I heard Manny Diaz one time speak when he was at MTSU. And Manny Diaz called it butt guys. He goes, we recruit butt guys. And I was like, I've never heard the term butt guys. And he explained what butt guys were. And he goes, well, he's everything, but he's small. He's a great football player, but he's a little weak. He's a super phenomenal tackler, but he's a little bit slow. And so there's always a but there behind it. He's this, but he's not fast. He's this, but he's not strong. He's this, but he doesn't have the size. He's this, he's not strong. Whatever it is. And so he talked about the difference of a place like MTSU and coming into the SEC. He goes, you can't win with the butt guys. You got to have speed in this league to win.
Yeah.
And so some guys go to college and they're the next best thing. And then another 5-star, 4-star comes in and they're better than them.
Right.
And it's not like they're a lot better than them. They're just a shade better. They're just a shade more consistent. And so now it's like, well, do I want to wait here and play behind this guy and be his backup for the next 3 years? Or do I want to transfer and be the man? And I could be all conference if I go somewhere else. And that's what we're seeing at Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would, that's kind of what we've seen too. I mean, case in point, Malik Willis. I mean, Malik Willis, he comes to us and he's he's athletic. He's got the arm, but he's not accurate. And he comes to Liberty and gets that fixed up. So,
hey, Chad.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about Charlie Brewer? That's another great example. Went to Baylor, went to Utah, and is now at Liberty.
Yeah. I mean, these transfers are different. They're a different kind of animal. And I'll be honest with you, they have 8 of them on the defense down there at Southern Miss, and the coach is doing a great job of bringing those guys and selling them. Freeze kind of brought up something Heath brought up there. Freeze said, look, most of the transfers to Mississippi are guys coming back home. If you're from Mississippi, you don't venture very far. He said in his recruiting experience, you maybe went a state or two over, but you didn't lose Mississippi guys to the north or to the west. You basically kept them there at home, and so most of those transfers were coming home. Heath, a question for you about the game Saturday. It's kind of odd. We've never had really coaches do this, but Hugh Freeze constantly is talking up the other team about how great they are and how the 3.5-point spread isn't very accurate and it's more of a toss-up. And then you read Southern Miss coach, and he's talking about, the spread should be more 17, 18.5. They're way better than we are, and they're for the last 4 years, and we haven't done anything, and they've won 3 straight bowl games, and goes on and on. I don't know what to believe as a person who is kind of trying to prognosticate this thing. You can't listen to the coaches. Is that pretty regular? Introduce me to this coach speak, because it's not something that I speak fluently. Heath, tell me what these coaches are talking about when one's saying it should be an 18-point spread and one's saying it should be a toss-up game. Are they just trying to set expectations? What is going on this week?
It's a page out of Lou Holtz's playbook. Lou Holtz would talk about how terrible his team is. That's what Hugh Freeze is kind of doing. Talk about and he's sending a message to his team through the media, and then Will Hall there at Southern Miss, taking the same page out of Lou Holtz's playbook. Lou would tell the other team, Lou could be ranked in the top 10. We barely got a team to get together. If we're going to Noah's Ark, we don't have two of anything. We're so banged up and bruised, and we can't do anything. And he said, I don't even know if we can survive the bus ride down there. And Lou Holtz would make his team sound like they're the worst thing. The pack rack 9, and they were going to play with 10 players all game on both sides of the ball. Lou would do that, but at the same time at practice, he is firing them up. Will Hall's a fiery guy. He's a very fiery guy. Expect Will Hall to have those guys prepped and ready, but he hasn't got his culture set in place. He doesn't have his system set in place. He's got 8 brand new faces on defense that they might even know each other's last names yet. I mean, they're not meshing. So I expect this to be a building experience for Southern Miss, and they're going to play with emotion. They will, but I don't buy for a second with Coach Freeze or any coach. They're going back home to their alma mater. Oh, it's just another. I'm not. That's not a big deal. Yes, it is. It's a huge deal, and he's saying the right things. He's saying the absolute right things. But you know what? Everybody in that locker room for the Flames, they know Coach Freeze is going back home, and they want to win this for him. Yeah, it's a big deal for those guys in the locker room, strapping up, playing the game. It's a very big deal to go out there and win for Coach. So I expect Liberty to come out there and match that intensity, if not more. And let's just face it, I think there's a better community. I think there's a better culture, and things are meshing together. I know you're replacing a decent bit, especially on the offensive side of the ball, but at least you got some everybody knows each other's names and nicknames, and probably your pet's name and your girlfriend's name, and so there's more of a home feeling and a family feeling there at Liberty. And awesome. Southern Miss, they'll get there, but they're not going to get there for game 1.
All right, Stingray, as you're going to the game in Hattiesburg, tell us your storyline you're looking for. What's the question you're going to ask Hugh Freeze if you get a chance before the game? What is kind of that you're looking forward to kind of figuring out on Saturday? It's a pretty cool deal that it's week 1 and we have Stingray headed to Hattiesburg to cover the Flames. I'm pumped about that. One thing, will you be wearing your Flames gear? I probably shouldn't up in the media box, but at least traveling to the game. And then what kind of questions you're going to be asking? What's the storylines you're going to be watching?
Well, I hate to bring this up, but I am a weather nerd as well, and I am in school over at Mississippi State right now, pursuing my broadcast meteorology degree, and it does look like that it is going to be rather wet down there on Saturday for the game, and especially across the entire Southeast. So I'm interested to see how well both teams play in the rain, and if there's any kind of a delay, because, I would like to ask and see what each coach does to try to get their teams prepared if there is a said delay in the game.
Wow, that is on point. I should have known that was coming from you, but I was down at the bowl, had a little bit of a delay, and let me tell you, Freeze is like a caged animal back there. When there's a delay, he's like, "We're starting this thing on time, aren't we? We're doing this on time," and he gets antsy. Heath, last question for you guys here is away from the game a little bit. Tell me, I want you to go and pretend you're a baseball scout here for a minute, and I'm a Major League Baseball organization. I want you to give me the breakdown on Hugh Freeze's baseball game. What was he a good glove? Was he a good bat? Could he get down the first baseline? Give us a little bit about Hugh Freeze on the baseball field.
Hugh's a little bit older than I am. He's gone. I've heard he was a pretty stout third baseman. I've heard that. I heard he was one heck of a quarterback in high school. He was a phenomenal little football player in high school. It's funny. Senatobia is not. I don't know if you've ever been to Senatobia, but it's probably about the size of your cafeteria. The last one you've been in. It's not that big. It's a small place. It's known as the 5-star city. And oh gosh, I can't name the 5 stars. Education, industry, I don't know. Make something nice up for the Chamber of Commerce, whatever you want to fill in there. But the 5-star city, Senatobia. But Senatobia is a tiny town. It's a wonderful little town. Again, Mississippi's place. I will say this: the Toby Town Twin Cinema. They have more than a Twin Cinema now. I think they have 4 screens. That's definitely the place you want to take your kids to watch a movie because it feels like you're going back in time. And they serve White Lightning there, which I think is like red Fanta and Sprite. It's amazing. I mean, it's something out of the movies. It really is. But Hugh Freeze, from what I heard, was a dynamic little athlete. I will say this. I know when he was at Lambeth, and a lot of people don't know this about Coach Freeze, and it won't shock you when I tell you this. He has won big everywhere he has been. He has always won everywhere he has been and won big. But when he was at Lambeth, his name kind of came up for the Memphis job way back when. And they just like, we're not going to hire this guy. He's at Lambeth. And that school's going to shut down. But there were some people here in Memphis, some boosters that were kind of floating his name and pushing his name, wanting him to be hired. Now, I want to say that was back around 2009 when that was going down. And the football media world would have been like, who is this Hugh guy? They wouldn't know. If he would have gone to Memphis, he would have been hired away by now if he did. But he would have won so big in Memphis, and Memphis would have thrown up FedEx would have ponied up a lot of money to keep. Because Senatobia, Memphis is like a 25-minute drive. Mm-hmm. This would have been home. They would have ponied up a lot of money, and there was a rivalry with Ole Miss, and Southern Miss doesn't like Ole Miss. Now I heard he did grow up an Ole Miss fan. I did hear that, but. And I hear he still goes back to Oxford quite a bit. And matter of fact, on our show, he talked about going to Taylor Grocery, which looks like some old grandma's house out in the middle of the sticks. And they serve excellent hamburgers. It's amazing. But one of the best hamburgers you'll ever eat, I'll promise you that. But with that, Hugh Freeze has always won. He's always going to be a winner. Yeah. And, he's the kind of guy that, he teaches character off the field too. And you got to respect that. We've all fallen short. We've all made mistakes. We're not going down that road. But he's the kind of guy that if Hugh Freeze was your neighbor, you would like him. You would. And that's awesome. That's the kind of guy he is. And a lot of people talk about certain guys, and I want to say a lot of names, a lot of former head coaches and current head coaches. They were your next door neighbor. You couldn't stand them. You wouldn't like them at all. But they're your head coach. You love them. Hugh Freeze is not that guy. Mark Richt was that guy. Mark Richt, it seems like the kind of guy you were out on vacation. Hey, I weeded your yard for you and mowed it for you while you were gone. It seems like something Mark Richt would do for you. Kind of same thing with Hugh Freeze. He'd check your mail. He'd water your plants. He'd do some things for you.
Awesome. Hey, guys, you guys are a blast. I love your show. I will be watching throughout this season. College football is back, gentlemen.
Yes.
Heath, I love that you always get the suit coat on. Always looking professional. Stingray, love the weather analysis as always. You guys are a blast. Love having you guys on. And looking forward to seeing you down in Hattiesburg, and go Flames. Thank you guys so much, and
Chad,
we'll catch up with you next time.
Hey,
yeah,
Chad, real quick, can I say one last thing before we go?
Yes, sir.
I'm picking the Flames 45-10 over the Southern Miss Golden Eagles Saturday.
Wow, with a new quarterback, that's a lot of points, Stephen.
I love it.
I'll jump on that bandwagon. I think Liberty wins. I think they win by double digits, but I think it's going to be a close game till late third, early fourth. But I'll do that. But hey, before I jump off, Nick, I know we never met. I know you're producing, but hey. I worked in television for a long time, and you guys are doing the dirt work, and you guys are doing the grind. Keep up the great work. Yes. That was a great little 11-second graphic that you put up there, and y'all got a very professional-looking show. Keep up the phenomenal work. I was actually really impressed when I signed on. So y'all keep it up.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks, guys, and enjoyed it. And with all that prognostication, it's time to get to the Liberty line with our favorite Richie Longshots. Let's get it.